Czechoslovakia came into existence after the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It was a state made up of both Czechs and Slovaks, and also, some other groups. But as many of you will know, the Czechs and the Slovaks were both separate during their time under the Habsburgs. The Czech lands were run as the Kingdom of Bohemia and Moravia, and the Slovak clans were a part of Hungary. But why was it that when the Austro-Hungarian Empire fell apart, these two peoples combined to form Czechoslovakia instead of both being independent separately? So when Austria Hungary became embroiled in the First World War, and both peoples saw an opportunity, the man that led the movement to break away from Vienna and Budapest was Tomáš Masaryk, who pushed for both Czechs and Slovaks to build a single country after independence. He personally wanted to create Czechoslovakia because he was born here, and so grew up surrounded by both peoples and saw their cultural similarities. But beyond this, there were pragmatic reasons for the union. The first reason was safety. The founders of Czechoslovakia believed that they needed each other if they were to survive the designs of their neighbors. There were some mild disagreements with Poland to the north over some territory, but Prague's main concern was Germany, or more specifically, the number of Germans living on its western border. There had been a push after the war that people should have the right to self-determination. For example, Danes living in Germany were given the choice of whether to stay a part of Germany or join Denmark. And this trend worried the Czechs since it would give Germany a claim to important territory, or the Germans living there voting to take it with them. The Slovaks had similar concerns. In the south sat a large number of Hungarians, and Hungary had made it clear that they wanted these lands and its people back. Furthermore, after the death of Austria Hungary, this area called Carpathian Ruthenia was also given to Czechoslovakia. The people there, well, they were neither Slovak nor Czech, but instead were Ruthenians. They had initially wanted to become a part of the Russian Empire, but since, that didn't exist anymore and what replaced it was a tad too communist for the Ruthenians' liking, it was decided that it would go to Prague. This was to avoid creating a small state that would likely just get conquered by Hungary again soon afterwards. The Allies wanted this for two reasons. It punished Hungary, which was always nice, and also it connected Czechoslovakia to Romania, which was also worried about Hungary trying to retake old lands. So when these three ethnic groups were combined, the country had a much greater chance of resisting any foreign threats. The Czech lands had a great deal of industry, but its agricultural lands weren't that great, whereas in Slovakia, it was the opposite. And as such, the two could help each other, with Slovakia acting as a breadbasket for the country, while the Czechs would provide the means of modernizing Slovakia by building new factories and a university there. The rights of non-Czechs in the country were guaranteed by the League of Nations in 1919. This, of course, had one exception, the Polish, since they were added to the country in 1920 when Czechoslovakia occupied these lands. There were concerns about the German regions in the west of the country, but the prior government lied about how many Germans there actually were, and also, it was just inconceivable that either Germany or Austria would receive lands after the war, and with that, the Czechs and Slovaks left not on their own but united in a single country. I hope you enjoyed this episode with a special thanks to my patrons, James Bizet, Kelly Moneymaker, Sky Chappelle Kitka, Andy McGee, Anthony Beckett, Alex Schwinn, Rody Martin, Uden Wong AF, Firefly Spencer, Lightfoot, Marcus Arner Y, and Hockey Captain Side Dog, Marvin Kao, Con Yoon the MC Whopper, Gustav Swan, Maggie Paskowski calling Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard spinning 3 plates, Coppertone, Sheenan Words About Books Podcast, Ket Alderwood, Winston Quood, Jim Stromberg, Charles Weintz and Miss Isett.